Okay, so we're in the business of building web, mobile, and Internet of Things-based solutions for all sorts of people, helping companies to succeed in this space. We're independent. We don't make products. We don't make our own products. We don't sell anybody else's products, and we work across every business domain. About a quarter of our time is spent providing advice, consulting, and about 3/4 of our time is spent building stuff. Sorry, up a bit. Yes. I'll try number one. Okay. Trying to get feedback. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll speak louder. So we love our jobs. Every month we get to solve new problems, difficult problems, and we get to create new disruptive solutions using new tech, and that's what really gets us out of bed every day. So I'm kind of the support act today. I'm going to just speak for about 15-20 minutes in preparation for Mark's presentation. But what I want to talk about is digital transformation and the API. So the reality is that technology is moving very, very quickly and disrupting every industry. This technological change is being driven by two key things. One, the explosion in devices. So these are your smartphones, your tablets, your Internet of Things, your wearables. These things are exploding. And also, in parallel to that, data, lots of data. I'm not going to say big data because I hate that, but lots of data is getting out there, and we're having to learn to sort of deal and adjust to that amount of data. The stark reality is that organizations that cannot adapt quickly enough are going to struggle and they're going to die. And a very smart guy a few years ago came up with this statement. It's not the strongest, it's not the smartest, it's the most adaptable that survive and prosper. But instead of talking thousands or tens of thousands of years, we're talking years and we're talking months in today's digital world. So every organization needs to become a digital business. But what does a digital business actually mean? So digital business, essentially a business that increases profits or some other measure of success by expanding the use of their digital assets. So this generally means sort of one of three things: using digital to create new touch points, to get to reach more customers, using digital to personalize the customer journey, and using digital to create new partnerships and become part of new ecosystems. And I'll come back to that a little bit later. But at the heart of this transformation is something called the API. And for some of you, API, you may be very comfortable with that. But I just want to spend a couple of minutes explaining what it is. Okay, so API stands for Application Programming Interface. So bear in mind that web technology that we know and love has been designed primarily to allow humans to interact with computer systems. So our browser, our Explorer, our Chrome is designed for humans. But soon after the internet, the web arrived, people realized that they could use those the plumbing underneath the internet, TCP/IP and HTTPS, those sorts of things, they could use those to allow computers to talk to computers. And what's happened over the last few years is we've had this international standardization of ways of computers talking to computers over the internet protocols. And things like REST, OAuth, JSON, those sorts of things have been agreed on and everybody's using them. So, but another way to think of it is an agreement for passing information. So I can now, if my website has got an API on the front of it, it can now integrate more easily with other systems. So an example I like to use is Xero. So Xero, the website, came out first, and it's got you get to it via a browser, do your accounting. But Xero also soon afterwards released an API. So once they did that, then developers could start building stuff around the Xero system. So for example, if I'm a developer, I want to build an overdue payment reminder system, I could write some code, fire in a question, and it would get an answer in a computer-readable format, and I can build software around that. So that's kind of what an API does in sort of quite easy to understand language. But what this API world is doing is driving changing architectures. So this is kind of quite a traditional architecture, been around for decades, three-tier architecture. We've got a database at the bottom layer. We've got a middle tier where we have a language like PHP or .NET, and then we've got a presentation tier at the top, which may be a Windows application, it may be a web, it may be an iOS app. So this is the traditional architecture. But we're now moving to a world where we have quite a different way of doing things. So in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got APIs. So well, in the bottom layer, we've got API-driven software. So we've got big products like Facebook, Google Maps, those sorts of things, thousands of very powerful black box cloud-based solutions. They've all now got APIs on the front of them. So as developers, we can start interacting with those systems. In the middle here, we've got generally closed APIs. So we've got your organization's information. Your IT department might decide to expose an API so that other people can start interacting with your internal systems. Your partners might do the same thing. And then on the right-hand side, we've got this quite interesting emerging field of horrible acronym BaaS, back-end as a service, nothing to do with porn. So these are a growing number of tools that essentially allow developers like us to more easily and more quickly build software for mobile, for web, far quicker and easier. If I can give you some examples of those. So Firebase, recently bought by Google, so they essentially provide database as a service via an API. So if you're building a database-driven application, use Firebase, it makes it a lot easier. You can write less code, and it just deals with a whole lot of stuff that you normally have to write code for. Contentful, another really interesting one. So many of you will have used content management systems to manage your web pages, but content like Silverstripe or Drupal or Sitecore, but content management systems are primarily designed for producing content for the web. So they've got a very page-centric view of life. But in fact, content is now being pushed in all sorts of other directions these days. It's going out to mobile apps, it's being syndicated to other people's sites, and it's appearing on other devices, some of which that don't even exist yet. So Contentful, what they've done is build a cloud-based product that allows you to put your content into this system and just expose it as a clean API, a REST API that developers like us can easily sort of pull out, put it into a mobile site, put it into a website, and do what we like. We've also got the Google Prediction Engine. That's another example, a very cool bit of technology that Google have produced, which allows you to upload data. So it may be a data set that your organization has around how your customers are interacting with you, upload it into the Google system, and then Google trains itself. It learns about that data, and then you can ask it questions. You can fire questions via an API. Okay, Google, now that you've got my data, what will my customer do next? What do you think my customer will do next? So again, this is not difficult stuff to do. A developer in half a day can get their head around the Google Prediction API and start doing some useful stuff. So it's just making our life a lot easier. In the middle tier, we've got Proxy API. So this is where you essentially write some code to build a unique solution that will make you stand out against your competitors. And then the top layer, you've got the presentation layer, which is basically, that's a business decision. Do you want to build it for an app, web, or something else, or Internet of Things device, or whatever. But the idea is you want to keep the effort down the stack. You want to reuse stuff down the bottom here, and you want to put as least amount of effort as you can at the top end, because that's the thing that's changing the most. So as new things arrive, you want to be able to build and react more quickly. So these architectures are fundamentally changing the way we do things, and they allow much faster development life cycles. They also allow business agility. So it's easier to swap out a component of that solution for something else. You don't have to completely replace your system and go through a massive procurement process. You can just swap out a component of your solution and replace it with something else. And you're also preparing better for an unknown future. Especially, as I said, this presentation layer, it's changing very, very quickly. New devices, new browsers, new apps or devices appearing very, very quickly. So it's driving new business models. No, it doesn't. So 4 things. So it's driving 4 points I want to make. Every company has digital assets. You may not think of yourself as a digital company, but you have digital assets. We've got data. Data is the new currency. APIs are the brokers of that currency. And this is what scares the pants out of a lot of people. Increasingly, developers are your customers. So increasingly, you will succeed more if you can make your APIs, you can make your systems developer-friendly, so you can encourage people to build stuff around your digital assets. So what I want to do now is to run through a bunch of interesting technologies which we think are really interesting, and when you combine them with APIs, you start to hopefully think about some really quite interesting things. So first of all, data visualization. Well, data visualization, so this used to be quite hard to do. It's become a lot easier. So this is basically creating interactive, pretty pictures. Now, with products or with software like DC, no, what's it? Forget the name of the, D3. So D3 is a free JavaScript library that developers can pick up and use, and it produces amazing in-browser graphics. You can drop it into your CMS, and you can do very cool things, especially when you start combining it with APIs. And this is an example of something we did. Whoops. I'll just pull this up. Whoops. So this will work. So this was a bit of R&D we did, simply using a D3 library and combining it with the LinkedIn API. So LinkedIn holds this massive database of who's connected to who. You log in and you can see who the people you're connected to. And the really cool thing is you can drag people around and whiz them around like that. So that's very cool. So that's that. WebRTC. So RTC stands for real-time communication. So this is kind of Skype, but programmable. So you can have in-browser video conferencing, audio conferencing, and you can build it into your systems. So very cool. It's a free open source project, and I perhaps won't do a demo now, but there's a site called Appearin where they've just taken that technology and makes video conferencing really, really simple. Tehsil. Tehsil.io. So this is a Tehsil, a very small device that has all these sensors that you can plug into them and allows you to start, and you use Node.js, which is a very popular web sort of programming sort of paradigm, and you can start connecting the offline world with the online world with this thing far more easily than you could do. Very small, very cheap, $35 device. You strap this to something and it all works over Wi-Fi. You can do some very cool stuff. Voice recognition. So some of you may have noticed that voice recognition is starting to get vaguely useful. I notice that for all you people who say bid and pin, Siri can now understand New Zealanders. It's got a New Zealand translator thing. So, and we've got speech recognition APIs now built into the browser. So again, developers can start to do speech recognition via the browser very easily. Nuance, the company behind Dragon Dictate and behind Siri, they now have software development kits for Android and iOS. So again, as developers, we can start building in voice recognition far more easily than we could before. And Ibeacon. So this is an Ibeacon here. A very simple device that just transmits a signal, a Bluetooth pulse every second or so. Costs $10, $20. Battery lasts a year. You can stick it to anything, and your mobile phone can detect when it comes into proximity of this device. And that doesn't sound that very exciting, but actually opens up a whole raft of opportunities for doing indoor location stuff. So we've been able to do GPS outside, but it sucks your battery and doesn't work inside where we spend most of our lives. So we can now write apps that will be triggered when they come into proximity with this beacon that you own and you know where it is. So indoor GPS. So this video illustrates that.
As you walk, your eyes process terabytes of information about the world around you. Your subconscious is constantly scanning for recognizable objects and locations to give you context and help you navigate. But if you close your eyes for a moment, you can only walk a few steps before your brain loses its context and forces you to stop. That's the world your smartphone lives in every day. It's a powerful computer, but it's completely blind. Last year, we introduced Estimate beacons to solve just that. They're small sensors that can be placed anywhere to provide context and microlocation to any smart device. Now, we're introducing Estimate stickers. Tiny beacons with built-in accelerometers and temperature sensors. You can stick them to any of your favorite objects nearby. We call them Wearables. Using stickers and our rich SDK, you can build a new generation of amazing context-aware apps. For example, if you stick one to your bike, your phone can automatically track your routes, record where you left it, and even detect motion if someone moves it. Or how about an app that can turn on an alarm clock only when you need it? You have a 9 a.m. meeting on your calendar, and thanks to the sticker, your phone knows that your context is still the bedroom, and since traffic is backed up, it wakes you up a few minutes early. What about when a customer picks up something they're interested in? Because the sticker can sense motion, they can be presented with relevant information about the color options, similar products, or specials. Then, at the end of the day, a store owner can see what products customers are interacting with most, and use that info to fine-tune promotions and sales, or make adjustments to the store layout. The potential applications are endless, even something as simple as an app that lets you know when you forget your bag when you leave a coffee shop. Join thousands of developers worldwide and build your own apps for Wearables. Order your sticker development kit today. Estimote. Reality matters.
So Estimote were one of the early sort of manufacturers of the hardware beacons, and this is the sort of second generation devices. These are just being sold at the moment, the stickers. And so again, it opens up a whole lot of options and possibilities around connecting the online world with the offline world, and we can do some very exciting things. So just to finish off, Oops. So wearables. So wearables are coming. Anybody got an Apple Watch yet? Who's going to admit it? No, not yet. They're coming. They're coming shortly. I think, yeah, it's evolving quite quickly. I think more interesting is some of these. There's something called a Myo. I'll show you the video. This is a video that's reasonably old now, but it's such a cool video. I like showing it. So. So low-cost device, $200, works on your nerve impulses here. It's not, that's a bit of smoke and mirrors. We've been playing with it for a while. It does some cool stuff, but there's a few generations to go before it becomes, really, really cool. So starting the journey, just to round off, I started off we're talking about digital transformation, and really, this is a hard journey to go through for a lot of organizations, especially the larger organizations. But kind of six steps from our experience that we recommend. Number one, appoint a C-level digital officer, somebody to champion the change. And this is quite a hard change. Somebody needs to lead that change. Number two, master two-speed IT. So this is the concept of slow-speed IT, which is working at the pace of your systems of record, your ERP, your CRM, your legacy systems that need to work at a certain reasonably slow pace. Then there's high-speed IT. So these systems need to work at the systems of engagement. So the pace, and these need to work at the pace of the market. And having a smart API architecture can allow these two speeds of working together. So you have the API in the middle, fast and slow. Embrace agility, lean startup. I would recommend everybody up the chain of command, from the board level to senior managers, go on a 2-day Scrum Master course It looks really good on your CV, become a certified Scrum Master. Read the Lean Startup book by Eric Ries. In the first chapter, he says this is not for startups, this is for businesses who need to understand how to move quickly, how to think like a startup, which every business needs to do. Educate and engage staff. Educate staff in what is possible. Some of the technologies, they don't know it can be done, so educate them and then engage them, get their ideas. Ideas these days don't come only from expensive consultants and creatives at expensive ad agencies. They come from developers, they come from frontline staff, they come from all sorts of people. So engage your staff. Iterate, innovate with adaptive apps. So adaptive apps, so we're moving now into apps and software that not only do transactions, but they can also react and adapt to where they are, the context, where they are physically, history, what you've done, your calendar. So we're now moving to a new generation of apps that are getting smarter and smarter, context-sensitive apps. And finally, start. Start small, but start. Otherwise, you may end up losing the race. Has anybody seen who's seen the Hololens video? A few of you. Okay, for those of you who haven't, I'll just finish off with that. So so Microsoft has suddenly become vaguely cool, not that cool, but vaguely cool. And this is a video they released promoting the HoloLens, which gives us a glimpse of the future, but it's not that far ahead. The HoloLens is, they're talking about it being released later on this year, early next year, but certainly gives us, I think, quite an exciting insight into what is coming.
Look around. Technology is all around us. We use it in every aspect of our lives. It enables us to do amazing things. But what if we could go further? What if we could go beyond the screen? Where your digital world is blended with your real world. Now we can. This is the world with holograms. What will they enable us to do? New ways to visualize our work.
I have an idea for the fuel tank.
New ways to share ideas with each other.
How are things going on?
I just put the images in OneDrive.
Perfect.
More immersive ways to play. New ways to teach and learn.
So put the new trap in the place of the old one,
No.
and tighten here and here.
New ways to collaborate and explore the places we've never been.
Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look.
And new ways to create the things we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see. This is Microsoft HoloLens.
So, a little glimpse of the future. And that is all from me. Yeah, so thank you very much.